Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Our next guest for the keynote this morning is CCP Mimic.
Hey everyone, my voice is rubbish, so I'm sorry in advance if you can't hear me, but yay, I'm back. It's really, really awesome to be back. This is, it's quite overwhelming to see so many familiar faces that I have to admit that I have missed more than I should have. But yes, anyway, we'll carry on with the presentation, won't get all teary-eyed. This is, of course, the third leg of the EVE World Tour Invasion, which kicked off in wonderful Amsterdam just at the end of March. And we are watching the wrong feed, so please can I have my slides showing on the screen? Because I've got nice pretty pictures. Yay, thank you. Sorry about that. Yes, we kicked it off at the end of March in Amsterdam, which I suppose could probably be called the younger sibling of EVE Down Under. They started in a bar meet in 2013, so a little bit younger than EVE Down Under. But it was a fantastic way to kick off the tour because they broke their attendance record with well over 400 members. So I just wanted to give a shout out to those guys because it was fantastic that they were all there. And then, of course, in the beginning of May, just a couple of weeks ago, was St. Petersburg, which was, again, the largest Russian player gathering that we've ever had. Again, well over 400 members. And we, for the first time ever, hosted the main content in Russian, which meant that we could really showcase what's the best part about our Russian-speaking community. And we were lucky enough to get players from not just Russia, but the Ukraine and Belarus and a whole bunch of other countries in the region. And they're a large part of our community, as I'm sure you guys have come across them in the wee night hours. But so it was fantastic to be able to speak with them and be a part of that community. And of course, it was there at St. Petersburg that we announced the summer expansion, which is coming in just 4 days. Sorry, I shouldn't say these things. EVE Online Invasion is going to see an invasion on a scale never seen before. And there's a bunch of new PvE content that's coming out with brand new challenges and visuals. And it's not just new stuff that we're bringing out. As CCP Helma was speaking about earlier, we're also remembering our roots and what basically taking a look at the tech that supports EVE Online. And part of this is updating all the gameplay systems, which I'll talk about a little bit later, and the transition to the 64-bit client and DirectX 12. And I also just want to give a shout out to all of you guys. The community has been quite amazing. I need better adjectives, I suppose. Quite amazing in helping us with the testing for EVE 64. And the attendance for the mass tests has been phenomenal, and it's been feedback like that and all the bug reports and all the things that have come to light through your interaction with us, through this collaboration, that has meant that we've been able to highlight some of the issues that came up in the beginning and work through them much faster than we thought. And so we're going to be going into opt-in open beta on May the 28th, alongside the expansion. And we had originally thought that we were going to need a substantial amount more time, but it's been through what you guys have been putting into helping us figure out what we need to get it to the standard that it should be. That's really helped us. So round of applause to any of you guys who've been helping. Well, actually all of you, just because you're part of the community, but thank you in particular to anybody who's ever helped with any of the mass tests or filed a bug report or anything else. So thank you. And like we said before, it's not just looking at the technical infrastructure of EVE, but also revisiting some of the more established gameplay systems that make EVE what it is. And one of the big parts of the summer expansion is going to be the latest overhaul of the Wardeck system, which has, of course, been around since the beginning of EVE, pretty much. And it got a few light changes back in EVE Online Exodus, which was in November 2004, which is quite some time ago. And this was when they introduced formal alliances, and so everybody needed some way to fight against each other. And it was only then in 2012 that they got the next few little bits of update where war reports were introduced and a bit more detail onto kill mails and being able to understand a bit more about what had happened in combat. But there's obviously a lot was needed still to happen. So in December last year, we introduced the beginning of these changes. And as CCP Helmer was saying, part of our investigations into what's happening in the game and how you guys are all interacting brought to light that there was a lot of unfairness in the earlier game that quite a few new players encounter, which is the Wardeck system and HiSec. And so we were looking at protecting new players to some degree, but also trying to reduce griefing the way that it currently was. So in December last year, we introduced war eligibility, which meant that anybody who wanted to be a part of a war had to have a structure in space. So it had to have a little bit of skin in the game. Then in March, we introduced a few more updates. This was mainly, again, focused on new players and trying to eliminate quick and easy ways to game the system and prevent any kind of abuse. We were closing loopholes that people use to try and get around things. And then in April, we introduced probably one of the most frequently asked for features from the community, and that was the removal of remote logistics and command bursts from affecting HiSec wars. So, woo, yay! So this is now hidden behind green safety settings, so no more accidental Concord intervention. And then, of course, that brings us to now, to May. And with this latest update, we're going to be introducing a bunch of UI changes just for increased clarity on what's actually happening in the war, like the progress of the war, more discoverability about the rules of how things work. It's a side note that I don't know if I should say, but it's quite surprising how many rules we discovered as we were going through this. So like, oh, I didn't know it did that. And there's no documentation of what it did before. And so awesome that you guys were able to play with this feature before. Anyway, we're fixing all of that. There's also one of the things that we've done is simplify the war cost. Before you had to determine how big the attacker was, the defender, how many wars were ongoing and all that. We've taken all of that out. Now all aggressive wars will simply be 100 million ISK per week, simple as. We're making some changes to mutual wars as well, where it's now going to be an invite acceptance system similar to corp recruitment, and there's no cost associated with that, no war eligibility, no need for a structure in space, and either side can end the war anytime that they want. And just going back to aggressive war, the last thing that we're doing or adding in, one of the main things, is something that we're calling war headquarters, where any organization must, or any attacking organization needs to declare a HiSec structure to be the war headquarters. And if this structure is removed from space for any reason, say, for example, it's unanchored or, I don't know, spontaneously combusts, then the war ends. So this way, at least, we're hoping that the defending corps at least have a chance, or at least we increase their sense of agency, that they have something that they can go against, or at least get friends to help them fight. But it's one of the things that we believe, sorry, I skipped ahead a bit, but one of the things we believe is that the stuff that happens in HiSec can really affect what happens in the rest of New Eden, especially as we were talking about newer players. And this slide is up here because I want to give a shout out to CSM 13, which is the current Council of Stellar Management. They have been a pretty big part in us shaping the way that the Wardeck system has gone, and they've been a part really early on, a really great sounding board for some of the ideas that we didn't even bother developing, some pretty crazy stuff. So just want to say thanks to them. They've been focused on getting us a more balanced Vortex system and definitely a risk versus reward focus, which has been fantastic. So if you can, please, a huge round of applause to CSM 13. And the CSM is really important when it comes to looking at the more established gameplay systems. And they have insights into, or especially given the feedback that you guys feed through them, insights into like quality of life and accessibility aspects of certain systems, which we can't always see because we can't know all the ways that you use different things. And so just wanted to say that it's going to be time for the new council to be voted in soon. Voting will be between June the 10th and June the 17th. I have some slides of the 44 candidates that are going to be running, but as you can hear, I'm sorry, candidates, but there'll be a devlog and all the names and everything, and they'll CCP Dopamine will also go through it in the closing ceremony, but I'm going to save this for the voice for other things. So here they are, everybody. We've got 7 incumbent candidates, I believe, and then, yeah, a total of 44. So I'm not going to read the names. Sorry, everybody. But yes. Okay, that's them. Voting, as I said, June the 10th to June the 17th, and we'll announce the results on June the 22nd, which is the next leg of the EVE World Invasion World Tour, which is EVE North in Toronto. Sorry, just take a break. Okay, back to Tuesday. As I said, there's, thanks to the CSM for shaping the Vortex stuff, which I know a lot of you guys probably aren't, well, some of you are in the teaching corporations, but a lot of you don't necessarily interact with the Vortex system. But as we were talking about before, we need to allow people to be in EVE and grow and find what they want to do, what interests them, how they're going to develop. And it's these trying to rework the systems that currently exist, which hamper that, which destroy all those dreams that we need to rework and focus on. And another thing that can affect this is the agency, which on the conversations that we've had like last night and a little bit today, you guys are getting close to those elite players with the years of tenure that you have, getting close to your average 7.1 years. And so things like the agency aren't maybe not the most obvious place for you guys to find content when it comes to EVE. Sorry. But there's a great deal to do in the game, and it can often be very overwhelming for new players to find what they want to do, what could interest them, how that best fits with their gameplay style. And so we're spending time on working with the agency, making things easier for people to find, regardless of their skill or knowledge level, helping people find content that appeals to them. So ultimately, so that they undock and find their passion and bump into you guys somewhere out there in space and eventually become part of your ranks. We want people to grow in their EVE careers, and that means that in the beginning, we need to help them find what it is that they're interested in. So we're going to be bringing back the Agent Finder and making career agents a lot more prominent so that right in the very early stages, people can learn more and be guided a little bit better on what they need. And of course, there's going to be lists or agents who want more advanced capsuleers to take on tasks at the higher skills. We're also going to be working on adding a little bit more spatial awareness, listing the types of things that you might encounter that's close by and what could be there, what could be out there. And this is not going to be limited just to combat and mining sites. As we progress and as we iterate into the future, faction warfare and abyssal content is also going to start appearing. So this is going to all happen in stages, and this is why we're spending time on this, as we were talking a little bit before about making sure that people have a good grounding or a good understanding of what's out there, what they could experience, and how they could develop as players in the game. This is a little placeholder slide because I'm just going to talk about going back to something that CCP Helmar said with how the majority of elite players in EVE really identify as helpers, and it comes up a lot in conversations as well, where you speak to people, but I really enjoy telling people this, or I hang out in the help channel, or can't you let me back into rookie help, which comes up a lot, or there's just a bunch of you guys and you all help each other while you're in your corp. And so I'm very proud to be working on the team that helped put this in. This next feature, and this is the help pointer. I'll just play it, hopefully. There's two players. The one on the left is helping the one on the right, and what they're doing is creating links, which the one who's being helped clicks on, and then a UI pointer will tell them different aspects. So you no longer have to try and explain to somebody, when you click on the 3 little lines above your portrait up on the left, and then you go down and it's the 3rd one on the bottom, and then all that. No more of that. You can just simply create the chat, create the links, and they highlight it, and there it is. Sorry. Anyway, sorry, I forgot to mention, that's going to be in the Neocon and utilities, so you just go to the 3 little lines at the top, and it's the 3rd one. It's where the notepad and the calculator are. Anyway, so going back to what I mentioned before about, EVE Online Invasion, is we're introducing a bunch more brand new brand new content, and I'm dying, so I'm going to get CCP Larrikin to talk about this, but yes, yay, brand new challenges, brand new stuff. Triglavians!
So coming in EVE Online Invasion, we are going to see the introduction of 3 brand new Tech 2 Triglavian ships. And these hulls were designed from the ground up to go on the offensive. Now their stats are finalized and all of their bonuses, so we're going to take a look in a second. But before we take a look, I just think we need to understand how important this moment is, because we're establishing how you pronounce the names of these ships forever, okay? So, like, I cannot get this wrong, all right? So just bear with me, please. So this is the first one, and it's the Nurgle. It's a Tech 2 variant of the Demovic, and it's an extremely strong short-range brawler, dangerous enough to even go up against larger ships once they ramp up the damage. Given its roll bonuses, it'll also be pretty decent at remote repair. And this will make it great for Abyssal Fleet runs, or if you just want to bring it along on a frigate and do some sort of dual DPS repair roll. I know that never goes sideways. Next up is the Dragger. It's the Tech 2 version of the Kimamora. This hull trades some of the Kimamora's range for command destroyer bonuses, and it can use a micro jump field generator as well. Its damage output is pretty high, making it versatile enough for a bunch of different compositions. And it's the only command burst ship that is able to use both skirmish and information warfare command bonuses. Yeah, that's right. And finally, there's the Ikitursa, the Tech 2 cruiser. It's based originally on the Vedmak, and it's probably the scariest of all three of these brand new ships. It's, we took the Vedmak and we were like, maybe we should make it even tougher. So it has Tech 2 bonuses and the ability to fit an assault damage control. It has huge damage potential with the weapon ramp up and plenty of room for utility high slots and the fitting room to actually be able to fit them as well. So for those of you guys who are skilled into Triglavian ships, all these three ships will be available in just 4 days with EVE Online Invasion. And we're super excited to see what you do with them. But what would be new ships without us also adding new mutoplasmids as well? So with the induction of the Triglavian heavy assault ship and assault frigate, we're going to introduce some. EVE Online Invasion will see the introduction of 3 brand new mutoplasmid groups: damage controls, assault damage controls, and ancillary shield and armor repairers. The benefits of the Triglavian arm race just keep coming to pilots brave enough to challenge them.
Wow, my voice is really going now. Sorry, guys. Ships, awesome rewards for what's coming, but basically what it comes down to is the Triglavians are going on the offensive. Going to end up, nobody knows. It's going to be all new environments, all new effects. Sorry. Rather than me try to stumble through telling me what's going to happen, we prepared a little bit something earlier. I'm just going to let the trailer do it for you. So for the first time ever, like we did the last time I was here, I'm going to show the trailer. I'm sorry, I'm just skipping through all the trailers. It looks awesome. Please go to CCP Antiquarian's talk where he's going to talk a little bit more about the art of EVE and what's going in. But 4 days' time, we've got the invasion, and it's just real.
Heads up, I'm activating the abyssal filament. If you need to reload kinetic ammo and group weapons, do it now.
Kinetic ammo? What are you talking about? I brought thermal. I got thermal ammo with me. Stole my thermal!
Oh, come on, we went over this. It's super simple. It's a dozen ships, we kill them, grab the loot, and head for the exit gate. Alright guys, keep your stuff together. Here we go. Something's not right. There's nobody here.
Did someone already run this pocket? The gate's open.
That's not possible. Come on, follow me. There's gotta be something up ahead. All right.
Did anyone see that?
Yep. Let's get closer and have a look.
Maybe we should just head back to the gate. Like, we could do a different filament.
Come on, don't get wuss. Is that something up ahead there? Yep, there's definitely something up ahead. It's getting a little bit closer. Here it comes.
Oh my god.
This is ridiculous.
Look at that.
That's a lot of ships.
Guys?
We're definitely running.
Oh shit, I have implants in this car.
Yeah, prop mods on. Let's go. Go, 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 go. Careful, guys. Down.
SC's down. I'm primary. They're shooting me now. It's this time.
Yeah, you're not gonna make it.
You're toast.
You want a bet? Got ya.
I'm sorry I wasn't able to describe all the exciting stuff before, but we've got an AMA later today at 4, so all of the devs are going to be there, so please bring your questions if you've got anything about what's happening in the expansion in just 4 days' time. We're super excited for you guys to play around with this and see what you like, something for everybody. But yeah, thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.